Hello, ladies and gents, boys and girls, people of all ages, sexualities, and identities, and welcome back to another Doctor Who review. And today's Doctor Who review is none other than Death in Blackpool. The Doctor and Lucy Miller return to Blackpool for Christmas. Yes, it's that time of the year. A very, very jolly time of the year. However, it all begins to come crashing down around the Doctor, Aunty Pat, and Lucy Miller. The Doctor has been keeping a long-standing secret from Lucy Miller about her Aunty Pat. It turns out that he's been hiding the secret for a very long time in a story arc that we've been following along since the very beginning of Lucy Miller's arc, that Aunty Pat is actually a Zygon. Lucy doesn't of course know this because the Zygon Haygoth decided to impersonate Aunty Pat. Lucy gets frustrated during Christmas when she can't even get a cup of tea in a cafe, and then all of a sudden she finds herself walking out into the middle of the street and finding herself in contact with an old grizzly Santa. They take the Santa back into the cafe and they joke about for a while. On their way home, they find themselves in a bunch of terror. As they begin driving round the back streets of Blackpool, they take a break, a moment to speak, and Lucy and the Doctor are temporarily separated. All of a sudden, the Doctor and Aunty Pat hear the sound of an ambulance, but believing it just to be some drunken fool, they don't realise that Lucy Miller has been hit by a car and is now sleeping in the hospital in a coma. Lucy awakes in her coma to find out that a Zygon or Zygoth is trying to possess her body. She doesn't give him the satisfaction for the most of this story, but she does begin to break down when the Zygoth begins to excruciate this cruel detail about Aunty Pat. Haygarth then decides to sacrifice themselves to essentially save Lucy, giving up their body so that the Zygoth or Zygoth ends up taking over Aunty Pat's body. However, salt water is very poisonous to a Zygon, and the body slowly begins to deteriorate. The Doctor and Lucy end this whole episode with this kind of really dark and bleak kind of memory that their whole relationship has been destroyed. Lucy then points out that she's gonna go around hitchhiking for a while because she can't go back to her house because the Doctor messed up with his TARDIS and landed her in a Christmas where she's still there. The Doctor apologises for this happening, however the whole way through the story he begins to feel more and more guilty about lying to her. Lucy points out at the end of the story she forgives him, but it's about time they go on their separate ways. She calls the Doctor her hero. The Doctor says he's not her hero, he's just a man from outer space from a planet Gallifrey. Lucy explains that's just it. He's a man from the planet Gallifrey in the constellation of Kasturbras. He has a magic box, he knows everything about everything, and he has taken her around the universe and back. Lucy has had such an adventure with him, and it's a shame to see her go at this point. However, I feel like Death in Blackpool is a justified ending to at least the story arc of Aunty Pat. It's also a justified ending to where Lucy has grown. I mean, Orbus, at the beginning of last box set, really begins to destroy Lucy's spirit of the Doctor. And I feel like this story just reinforces that they have become totally inseparable and separate people. They will still long for one another as best buddies, but they can't keep going on hurting each other like this. And that is why I give this story a solid 10 out of 10. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next Doctor Who review. Until then, stay beautiful, and goodbye for now, you beautiful people.